Entertainment to now start up his own record label. That is the Gang Gang Music Company. And I'm looking forward to much more from Orezi. Congratulations to him, big ups. And we look forward to more works from you and your signed artists. Also, it seems like Abuja is not like the in place for all the shows, the performances, the visitations of our celebrities. As recently we saw Flavor, we saw Star Plus, who is based there, and Techno come to perform in one of the major venues in Abuja. But the gist here is that a lot of people who turned out for that event were not impressed by Techno's performance, as it seems like it was in a rush. And I'm like, you've been paid to do something, do it well. Like, because at the end of the day, you're still going to collect your money. But in other words, maybe he had something to do. Let's not just judge him for that. Maybe he had somewhere to run to, or had crisis or emergency or something. But in other words, please endeavor to do your work diligently, because people are watching. People are definitely watching. Right now, let's check out entertainment trivia. I will still be here when you come back.
Named Simi Bolatito Ogunleye, she was born on April 19, 1988. Simi hails from Surulere, Lagos State, and grew up in Ojuelegba, a suburb of Surulere. She attended Covenant University, where she studied mass communication. Simi's discography includes 2 solo albums, Ogaju 2008, Simi Sola 2017, and a joint album with Fowls, Chemistry 2016. Simi won the Best Recording Artist of the Year, Best R&B Single, and Best Collaboration at the 2016 Edis Award. She mixes and masters her album by herself.
All the party way then they do for Lagos City. Now there where you go find the money receipt. She know they carry last yo, she know they greedy. Yeah, 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 kilonwa kiri. Mommy ye tunde on tun lo yawo, on fe ra gele lo si.
Looking at ace comedian and actor Ali Baba, he has advised young and other actors like him to please live within their means in order not to showcase a false lifestyle. He has also revealed to us that monies that are paid to actors cannot actually sustain their lifestyle. As he also said that the money he was paid for just acting in Wedding Party, he earned it in 4 hours from just doing comedy. That is to say that most of the things we see on social media might necessarily not be real. So we, the fans, have to put a break. We expect so much from our celebrities. We want them to do this and do that. And when they don't do these things, we begin to insult them. In other words, you're expecting them to be false. You want them to live a false life. So let us encourage them. Let us support them instead of making them want to live a false lifestyle. Now let's check out our comedy skit for today.
Stop beating me, stop beating me. Every time you just be beating somebody. Stop beating me. I'll tell my mommy for you. You know you're a bully. Stop beating me.
Hey! You dey beat my guy. My guy. Hey! Oh yeah, Junior, carry my bag, they go. I go meet you for front. Run, no, but wait for me for junction. I go deal with this guy for you on your behalf now. Hey! You dey beat my guy. Okay.
You better mind your business or I'll beat you too now.
Hey! You go beat me. Me. Take Golo. Champion or worry. Hey!
Which one? I will just match you like ant, small ant like you.
Hey! Oh! You have suffered, take God, Lord. Oh, what a suffer. Today, I go show you, say, little drop of water by the almighty ocean.
President Muhammadu Buhari launching the Central Bank of Nigeria Anchor Borrowers Program, as well as dry season rice farming in Kebbi State as part of the economic diversification drive. 28 months after the launch, rice farmers in Nigeria increased to more than 11 million, producing over 17 million metric tons of the commodity per annum. As a result, rice import bill has been drastically cut down by over 90%, saving for Nigeria millions of dollars in foreign exchange. Critical stakeholders in the rice value chain, comprising farmers, processors, and distributors, were in the State House to formally say thank you to President Muhammadu Buhari for unlocking the potentials of the rice subsector of Nigeria's agroeconomy.
Sincerely and categorically say that there is no adjective that is strong enough to thank you for what you have been doing to agriculture, and by extension to Nigeria as a whole. You are aware, Mr. President, before 2015, the rice we eat in Nigeria is an imported rice. And luckily for us, God, in his own way of doing things, he brought you into power. And today, from the declaration you made in Kebbi State in 2015, precisely 17th November, today, the rice we eat in Nigeria, directly or indirectly, is almost 95% local rice.
With this, the country will save over $300 million through export substitution. These are real. Mr. President may wish to consider, and if deemed fit, approve an establishment of a 2-year, 24-month, 40 billion rice support fund, where the millers would produce 10 million units, bag of 50 kg. Each bag is sold at 15. Millers will draw down 5,000 naira from the rice support fund. This means the miller will sell the rice to a wholesaler at discounted price of 10,000 per bag. This will enable the final consumer to buy the rice at a maximum retail price of not more than 12,000 naira per 50 kg. This price will effectively enable Nigerians to compete with the heavily subsidized imported rice. The wholesaler distributors will be provided with a concessionary single-digit loan to enable them to take this discount because they are complaining the investment is high for them. The government has to make heavy investment in the seed improvement, land development, irrigation, and mechanization.
We would like to appreciate you for giving us the opportunity. You have done extremely well where others have failed, sir. We know very well if you have taken this stride for a popularity purpose, you couldn't have achieved this tremendous achievement, sir. Rice production is a very lucrative business in Nigeria because Nigerians consume a lot in rice. Every family eats rice every day. So if not for your resilience, for you to have taken this measure, we know we'll still be struggling in importation of rice today. We are happy with the report we had yesterday of our foreign reserve going to 46 billion, which is a very good achievement to this administration. If Lake Rice will be able to push out smuggled rice in Lagos and the metropolis, why not other states? Sir, what you have done in rice shouldn't be a thing that should be put aside. Please, we are begging you to add more to your effort, because if we could be able to go back to where we are coming from, it's going to be a disaster. A lot has been invested in the value rights chain. We are also appealing to you, maybe through the CBN and commercial banks, if they can come up and avail us with less interest rate loans, so we can be able to participate actively in this rice business. The 20-something percent, 28-29% that's been availed to us by our banks is hitting us so much that we can not be able to find our feet in the rice chain business.
Mr. President, I congratulate you because your dreams have been realized. Through the Anchors Borough program,
Jama'a masu kallon tashar NTA Hausa, barkamu da warhaka.
Kí ni ayẹyẹ ọdún Iléyá tá máa ń ṣe lọ́dọọdún yìí rọ̀ mọ́?
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
We are Nigerians. We are one people. God made us united in our diversity. We have one history. We have one destiny. We are Nigerians. Let's rise and build. We have a vision with hope of what can be. Our dreams are lofty, our future great. Yes, we can do what's right and walk in love's just ways. We are Nigerians. Let's rise and build. We are Nigerians. We are one people. God made us united in our diversity. We have one history. We have one destiny. We are Nigerians. Let's rise and build. We've had our bitter taste of hate and bitterness. We've danced in agony to drums of war. But now we see the light. Let tribe and tongue unite. We are Nigerians. Let's rise and build. We are Nigerians. We are one people. God made us united in our diversity. We have one history. We have one destiny. We are Nigerians. Let's rise and build.
We are Nigerians, though of many tribes, and each with a different tongue. We stand united in our resolve to build, to defend, and to honor our great nation. We are a great people, from the beautiful grasslands and savanna to our rich rainforest, in a land flowing with oil and gold. Hear the clatter of groundnuts, hear the whispering palms, see the towering cocoa trees. We are Nigerian.
Thanks for joining us on Nationwide on the NTA. I am Laure Balahassan. Chief Justice Abdullahi Cham has sworn in Julius Bio as the new president of Sierra Leone. Bio, along with Vice President Julde Jallo, were sworn in just hours after the announcement by the country's Electoral Commission. Sierra Leone's Electoral Commission announced that the country's opposition candidate, Julius Bio, has won the country's presidential election rerun after winning by 51.81% of the votes cast in the last month's election, leaving Samura Kamara of the incumbent party with 48.19% of the votes. Voter turnout stood at 81% with 3.1 million people registered to vote. This was Bio's second bid for the presidency after losing the 2012 election to outgoing President Ernest Bai Koroma. Bio of Sierra Leone's People's Party, SLPP, pledged to govern for all Sierra Leoneans at the ceremony. Sierra Leone's opposition challenger Julius Bio secured his first term in office as a civilian Wednesday when he was declared the winner of a controversial presidential runoff, but his opponent vowed to contest the result. Bio, a former soldier who briefly led a military junta more than 2 decades ago, won 51.81% of ballots in last month's election. According to official results, he beat incumbent Samura Kamara, who secured 48.19% of the vote, ending a decade in power for Kamara's All People's Congress, APC, in the poor West African nation. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Julius Bio on his victory as the new president of Sierra Leone after the presidential election runoff on March 31st. The president commends the people of Sierra Leone on the successful conduct of the presidential election runoff, as well as the parliamentary and local council elections held on March 7, 2018. With the elections concluded and following the trend of recently held peaceful elections in West Africa, President Buhari urges all stakeholders in Sierra Leone to work together for the peace, security and development of the country. He enjoins all those with grievances over the outcome of the elections to seek constitutional means of resolving them, stressing that nothing should be done to endanger the peace and stability of the country, in particular, and the sub-region in general. The Nigerian leader salutes the resilient spirit of Sierra Leoneans who have clearly demonstrated their ability to manage their own affairs and consolidate on the country's progress after a post-conflict era. The president also commends the immediate past president, Ernest Bai Koroma, for his commitment to a credible electoral process and spirited efforts at bringing stability and positive changes to the nation during his presidency. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, indicates that President Buhari looks forward to working with President Bio for the growth, prosperity and stability of their nations and West Africa. The rate at which developmental strides of the present administration is being reported is far low compared to the achievements on ground. Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita, made the observation at a peer review of the Ministry of Information and Culture. Adebola Brooksland Sunday reports.
For improved productivity,
reviewing the activities of the ministry and the roles played in ensuring that all the parastatals perform optimally, Permanent Secretary Grace Gekpe said the creative industry has been identified as a sector of focus in its economic recovery efforts.
The ministry, being at the helm of affairs of information, culture and tourism sector, has been working assiduously to create an enabling environment for the various sectors to thrive through policies and actions driven through the combined efforts of its dedicated staff and the parastatals that are the implementing arm of the ministry.
Permanent secretaries, directors and other key players used the meeting to ask questions and make contributions, and in some instances responded to questions put to them using the carrot and stick method. Mrs. Oyoita applauded the ministry but frowned at the under-reportage of government's activities.
If it is funding, you must get it across to your minister that this ministry needs funds to project the activities of this administration. The way previous administrations spent huge sums, billions and billions of money, and the whole place was flooded with a lot of propaganda. But now that we are actually doing the work, we are hiding it under the table.
Director General of NTA, Yakubu Ebon Mohammed, who was represented by Executive Director, Admin and Training, Steve Egbo, said NTA has been on top of its game.
We must report Nigeria, we must represent Nigeria, and we must defend Nigeria, irrespective of our political inclinations.
The review mechanism of all ministries, departments and agencies is a platform for permanent secretaries to interact and draw lessons from their strengths and weaknesses. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
Gender-based violence can be curtailed if specific needs of women and children are factored into urban development processes. This was canvassed by women rights advocates at the public presentation of a report on safe cities for women by Action Aid International. Mitairi Ikben reports.
Violence against women and children is a global pandemic, and this forum notes that the trend is aggravated in cities where there are inadequate or non-functional streetlights, coupled with a difficult public transportation system. This gave rise to advocacy on safe cities for women, with calls for gender perspective in urban planning and development as a way of preventing and mitigating violence against women.
Women and men experience the city differently. How you build, whether they are dark areas or they are unsafe areas, the vulnerable group. Women are very vulnerable. And so in consideration of that, we need to take issues that affect women, you know, as well as, it's not a blanket thing. Don't build it gender blind.
For instance, what kind of protection is there for women in public transport? What kind of protection is there for women if they are moving from Wuse Market to Asokoro after dark?
Besides the Safe Cities for Women campaign, the need for greater participation of women in governance was also highlighted. Federal and state governments were urged to exercise political will in implementing all agreements and policies for accelerating the emancipation of women in the society. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And turning our attention now to security matters. A crucial meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and the top echelon of the nation's security operatives has ended in Abuja. Details of the meeting were not made public, but the Minister of Defense, Mansur Dang Ali, confirmed the recent approval of $1 billion by President Muhammadu Buhari towards equipping the armed forces for enhanced service delivery. State House correspondent Adam Sambu reports.
It was a periodic strategic meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and heads of the nation's military and other security agencies in response to the various challenges of security confronting Nigeria. In attendance at the crucial meeting, which lasted about 3 hours, were the Minister of Defense, the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defense Staff, and the service chiefs. Others are the Inspector General of Police, as well as the Directors General of the Department of State Services and the National Intelligence Agency. Issues relating to the farmers' herders conflicts, kidnapping, armed banditry, as well as the mop-up operations against terrorism and insurgency were thoroughly analyzed. It could be recalled that President Muhammadu Buhari had recently directed that criminals that steal, maim, and kill innocent citizens must be wiped out across Nigeria and criminality brought to an end for sustainable peace and socio-economic development. None of the service or security chiefs spoke to newsmen after the meeting with the president. Defense Minister Mansur Dang Ali, however, managed to speak on the reasons rather than the outcome of the meeting.
This is the normal quarterly meeting of security agencies within the country. And as usual, we discuss the current activities that affected most of the states in the federation, like Taraba, Zamfara and other states.
The minister, however, confirmed the recent approval of $1 billion earlier agreed on by the National Economic Council towards enhancing the capacity of the nation's security agencies in securing Nigeria and protecting its territorial integrity. And on Leah Sharibu, the Dapchi school girl still in captivity, the minister had this to say.
It has been also discussed. We are making all available efforts to see that the girl is returned safely.
All efforts by newsmen to get further details on the meeting were unsuccessful. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
2 white garment pastors suspected to have murdered one of their lovers have been apprehended by the Ogun State Police Command of the Nigeria Police Force. The 2 suspects were paraded before newsmen at Ewekuru, where remains of their victims were buried. Lukman Adefeso has details.
The 2 pastors belonging to different white garment churches located in a bush around Papalanto confessed to belong to an occultic society and killed the deceased, said to be member of one of the churches. The deceased was lured into the church for ritual purposes.
He put the blood inside the 7 calabashes the 7 people were holding, and at the long run, he later cut off the head. And I also asked him about the blood. He said that they wanted to use the blood to do something, that there's something that is living inside the box of the one he was doing in that present time, the mountain he said he's doing because he built a house for that thing, so in his church.
The Commissioner of Police, Ahmed Ilyasu, led journalists to the church where the remains of the deceased was buried in a shallow grave inside the church after some of her body parts were removed.
We are going to wipe out this type of heinous crime as far as Ogun State is concerned. You know it. You are witnesses to that. We've been doing it. We will continue to do it.
The police commissioner reaffirmed his command's commitment to rid the state of criminal elements.
Forensic investigation into the case has commenced, and the case will eventually be charged to court. The culprit will be dealt with accordingly.
A mother of 5, the 35-year-old victim was also a divorcee and until her death was a hairdresser.
Security experts want the effort to curb insecurity in Nigeria to go beyond the recovery of illicit small arms as directed by the Inspector General of Police to a more robust strategy that will stop the movement of such arms. The security experts spoke on NTA's current affairs program Good Morning Nigeria. Gufan Shaji reports.
The deadly consequences of proliferation of small and light weapons in Nigeria is reflected in the number of fatalities and deaths arising from armed robberies, terrorist attacks, cult clashes, militancy and attacks by suspected headsmen. With the recent directive to mop up all illegal weapons across the country by the Inspector General of Police, security experts believe the step is necessary but must be sustained.
There have been mop-up in Lagos with ammunition very huge, 220. We also have in Taraba State, we've mop-up about 58 arms, illegal arms, with ammunition of 222. In places like Katsina, they've turned out arms 198 and 840 ammunition.
The borders are very, very porous, so they just easily cross.
I've discovered that locally made weapons are actually of the higher percentage than the imported weapons.
The recommended adequate sensitization and setting up of special task force that will break the cycle of weapons smuggling and usage among non-state actors.
There was an initiative sometime last year, a whistleblowing program for arms. Let's get people blowing whistles, because we see it work well in the case of corruption. It will work well in the case of arms mop-up also.
I think there should be a structure. I am happy to hear that the Presidential Committee has done a report, but there's also a problem, because the Presidential Committee, as everybody knows, they lack the support and the funding.
Community must be involved. Citizens must be involved.
The guest also challenged security agencies to be alert to their responsibility of protecting lives and property, so as to discourage the quest by some Nigerians to acquire arms for self-protection. In Abuja, Kofan Shaji, NTA News.
Kano State is taking advantage of window amnesty introduced by the Nigeria Police to surrender illegal and prohibited firearms, as the State Police Command has recovered about 85 arms voluntarily surrendered to the command. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that the State Police Command warns that it will come down heavily on those who failed to key into the amnesty program.
Items recovered include 37 rifles, 23 pistols, 127 cartridges, 309.6 mm ammunition, 27 AK-47, among others. While commending individuals for prompt compliance with the IGP's directive, Commissioner of Police Rabi Yusuf maintained that the window amnesty is still going on, urging members of the public to come forward to surrender their arms.
As soon as we finish this showcasing the illegally acquired arms and prohibited firearms, the task force will go after those people that are yet to surrender or to voluntarily surrender their arms and ammunition. And if apprehended, definitely we are going to prosecute them.
On the strategies adopted to curtail the influx of firearms in the state by individuals, Rabi Yusuf says the committee set up by the command will address the problem.
Anybody coming in with illegally acquired arms or prohibited firearms will easily be identified and then the arms recovered.
From Kano, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Similarly, Jigawa State Police Command has successfully seized and recovered over 130 prohibited firearms from criminals and individuals in the state. Police Commissioner Balazan Nasenchi said the mop-up exercise is in compliance with the Inspector General of Police directives to secure the country against the proliferations of firearms. Ibrahim Sani reports.
The mop-up exercise embarked by Jigawa Police Command tends to tackle the proliferations of firearms that has direct bearing on the current security challenge prevalent in most parts of the country. In the course of firearms recovery, 3 AK-47 rifles, 2 AK-56 rifles, in addition to 3 locally fabricated rifles were recovered. Also recovered were 1 Dicon pistol, 1 pump-action machine gun, 5 locally made pistols, and 119 locally made guns. Police Commissioner Jigawa said Balazam Masanchi emphasized that most of the recovered firearms were voluntarily surrendered by the owners, restating the command's readiness to re-invigorate effort to push out others who failed to do so.
We have
recovered some of these weapons. Some were mopped up from individuals. And we also recovered some of the arms from criminals who have been terrorizing the state. It is of note that Jigawa State Command is a peaceful command, but that does not mean that criminals don't also operate. They do.
The police commissioner enjoined people in the state to continue to support security agencies to safeguard lives and property of the citizenry. From Dutse, Ibrahim Sani, NTA News.
Time now to join Elizabeth in Lagos for more reports making rounds. Hello, Elizabeth.
It's nice to see you, Larry, and welcome to Lagos. The Minister of Interior, Abdurrahman Dambazao, has charged men of the Federal Fire Service to be more committed in carrying out their duties while saving lives and properties from fire and other disasters. He gave the charge at the commissioning of firefighting trucks in Lagos. Simi reports.
Frequent fire disasters have led to huge economic waste in the country, in which lives and properties worth millions of naira are lost. The commissioning of a total of 13 firefighting trucks by the Minister of Interior, Abdurrahman Dambazao, is a demonstration of the federal government's desire to reduce enormous waste encountered as a result of fire outbreak in the country. The minister commended President Muhammadu Buhari's led administration for revitalizing the federal fire service sector across the country. He said the equipment will ensure efficacy in firefighting as well as respond to all emergencies in Nigeria.
Like I said, cost money. Therefore, their lifespan depends on maintenance. And I know that part of the contract includes 2-year warranty and spare parts. We must be able to use them to protect, the lives and properties of our citizens.
We have been able to create a good relationship with various state fire services so as to ensure partnership of efficient service delivery to Nigerians.
Some of the suppliers of the firefighting equipment attest to their effectiveness.
The equipment is the the best firefighting equipment you can think of in the whole world today.
All the accessories seem to be in order.
The event featured a special firefighting demonstration by men of the Federal Fire Service to ascertain the level of effectiveness of the equipment. In Lagos, Simi, NTA News.
Members of the joint labor and civil society organizations are lamenting the proposed privatization of the water sector as a solution to inadequate water supply in the country. They are of the opinion that privatization will bring untold hardship to Nigerians. Amaka Owa reports that the union made its position known at a joint labor meeting in Lagos.
Privatization of public utilities is meant to ensure efficiency in service delivery, improve growth rate, and reduce bureaucracy. However, members of the joint labor and civil society organizations think otherwise. They believe the policy is suffering daunting challenges in recent times owing to corruption.
Have you ever thought about the staggering figures of disclosure they are making? People stealing at the region of billions of dollars. Do you know how much of road that can build, hospitals that can build, doctor salaries that can pay, teacher salaries that those funds can pay? This is the reality we have in Nigeria. Nigeria is not poor. All we need to do is to fight corruption and use those gains to fund public service infrastructure.
We need stronger accountability, transparency, fight against corruption, better, more efficient public services, through monitoring of the implementation of government programs.
Key players at a joint meeting believe that the move by the government to privatize the water sector will lead to loss of jobs in the public sector.
Privatization is not the way to go because it imposes more hardship on the ordinary workers.
Some, however, called for prudent management of the nation's resources to provide water for Nigerians.
Provision of things like water
it's necessary for every government to pump in money there. We strongly believe that the government must make something out of it.
They appeal to government to foster development by providing public utilities to improve the standard of living of Nigerians instead of privatizing key sectors. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from Lagos at this hour. Over now to Larry for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Elizabeth. You're watching Nationwide on the NTA. Time now to pause for some messages. The news continues shortly. Don't go away.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Our Anchor Borers program has created an agricultural revolution. In September 2015, we imported 644,000 tons of rice, costing more than $5 million per day. By September 2017, rice imports dropped by 95% to 22,000 tons. Our maize crop has exceeded 10 million tons this year, and through our rice and maize program, we now have 12.2 million farmers. We are now the world's second largest producer of sorghum after the United States, third in millet after India, and we lead the world's production of yam and cassava. We've created numerous plantations solely for the export market, and our plan is to increase the agricultural sector from 25 to 49% of our GDP, thereby reducing poverty and increasing food security.
NTA Television College, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, has over the years maintained her reputation of putting together courses that are highly relevant to manpower needs of the broadcast industry. The college is again organizing a 4-week course on computer graphics and animation to train new entrants and retrain existing media operatives in these critical areas of broadcast media. The course is designed for non-linear editors, animators, producers of puppets and graphics. Date 16th April to 11th May 2018. The college also has another 4-week course on English grammar and pronunciation for broadcasters slated for 21st May to 15th June 2018. Come and take advantage of our top-notch and intensive course designed to grow the skills of television presenters, script writers, news editors, journalists, hosts of live events in just 4 weeks. Venue for both courses will be at the multipurpose complex, NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos. Fee is 100,000 naira per participant for both courses, accommodation inclusive. Be there. NTA Television College, Jos, training you to be the best you can be.
Many thanks for staying tuned. The Kaduna Economic and Investment Summit has ended with stakeholders urging the state to maintain its lead in the ease of doing business matrix. Linda Ogidi reports that strategic location, easy connections and educated workforce are factors experts say will aid that aspiration.
For 3 days, the attention of business, economic, financial and even political experts was in Kaduna as its third investment summit held. They were days that experts from within and outside Nigeria interacted and discussed different issues relating to investment. Kaduna states commitment to achieving sustainable economic growth by legislating to make it easier to do business and aligning its budget to capital expenditure to build human capital and infrastructure appeal to all. Nasiru El-Rufai was always on hand to update on the state's development plans and investment priorities.
Our plans for the future and our aspiration caused us to launch 32-year infrastructure development plan for the state, as well as present the draft of an industrialization plan. Our objective is to close our infrastructure gap, plan for the future, and hope that successive governments will ensure that our children and grandchildren born in this state or living in this state will have a great future.
It is expected that these opportunities for private sector, international development partners, and other related parties will create job opportunities in the state and take the investment initiative that create growth to another level. Linda Ogidi, NTA News.
For the Oshongo community of Benue State, this year's Easter was marked with double celebration. The people rolled out drums to honor the Executive Secretary, Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission, Reverend To Uja. Kendi Olaleye reports.
The rigor and passion with which these dancers in Oshongo community of Benue State perform says it all. Expression of gratitude to God for the Easter and to President Muhammadu Buhari for appointing their son, Reverend To Uja, as the Executive Secretary of NCPC. Governor Otom of Benue State was not only on hand to felicitate with the people, but also stressed the need for hard work, peaceful coexistence and fear of God to move Nigeria forward.
Everyone living here must obey our laws. The law enforcement agencies are cooperating with us, and we are sanctioning all those who are violating our laws. It's not just about the prohibition of open grazing, but it's about the law in totality.
I'm mobilizing leaders of thought, leaders in politics, and leaders in all sectors of the economy to either set up more schools or promote the establishment of them and the financial support to indigent people who cannot go to school. I believe if we're able to educate our people, more than 75% of our problems will be solved.
The event is coming on the heels of relative peace across Benue State. In Abuja, Kendi Olaleye, NTA News.
And now to the legislature. The House of Representatives Committee on Privatization and Commercialization has promised to assist through effective legislation in ensuring steady supply of electricity to Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa reports that the committee stated this after inspecting facilities at the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company.
After the inspection of various facilities of the AEDC office complex, members of the House Committee on Privatization and Commercialization promised to act appropriately.
We are partners in progress. We press it on the government to make sure this payment is done. That's some of the things you are seeing now. If you are going to be developing the country, if you expect kind of investment you want, the power sector must work for everybody to see. So you need to collaborate more with the legislators. We are friends.
There has been a tremendous improvement in power supply in the sector. There has been tremendous improvement in power supply all over the country. But I don't know what is going to happen. The rainy season is coming.
The managing director of AEDC, Ernest Mopawa, enumerates challenges confronting the sector to include gas and fuel suppliers, generating companies, market regulators, and bulk trader, and generating administrative and distribution tariffs.
The challenges are number one, whereas it's a desire to meter everyone, it is now common knowledge that certain customers, if you put a meter there, the meter may not pay back because the customer's got only 1 or 2 bulbs. When you put the meter there, the payback will be to 14 years, for example.
The Abuja Electricity Distribution Company is jointly owned by stakeholders and the federal government. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
The FCTA is re-strategizing to address the environmental challenges in the Federal Capital Territory. To this end, the board of the agency responsible for keeping the city and its environs clean is seeking partnership and support of all stakeholders to achieve this objective. Abdullahi Ajia reports.
With a clear-cut mandate to improve the workings of the board's facilities, the board members, led by its chairman, were in company of staff of the AEPB. The meeting between the two bodies provided a platform to synergize and agree on modalities that will translate to better service delivery, looking at priority areas. Soon after, the members went on a guided facility tour. At the Gosa dump site, Director AEPB Babashehu Lawan explained the new development around the dump site, which had been in use since the 70s. Adding that there are future plans, including several proposals to upgrade the site to a universally acceptable standards.
We have gone around to the sewage treatment plant. We have found that so many places, to the extent that about 80% of sewages that are being generated in Abuja is improperly discharged through our water systems.
The team also inspected the ongoing weighbridge, which is to ensure accurate data of waste volume to the site. Members were also at the water treatment plant, the biggest and most modern in the West African sub-region. At the end of the tour, all agreed to hit the ground running to revamp the facilities. However, there were observations in the areas of pollution, deforestation, among other activities of man that affect the environment negatively. In Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
Delta State government to donate land to Federal Medical Center. Ogochukwuka will be giving us details of this and more stories from Benin. Hello, Ogochukwu.
Hello and welcome to Benin. The Nigerian Immigration Service plans to establish a passport office at Auchi. The Comptroller of Immigration, Edo State, Kayode Eniolorunda, gave this information during a visit to Governor Godwin Obaseki to express the stand of the service regarding illegal migration and human trafficking. Goodluck Enaini reports.
The Comptroller of Immigration, Edo State, while commending the governor for steps taken to change the trend, said he is in the state to complement his efforts, particularly in the fight against human trafficking. He said Edo State will, in a couple of months, have a passport office at Auchi to ease difficulties in obtaining passports.
The command has been a good partner in your quest to abate human trafficking in the state, and this, I hope, will consolidate and strengthen.
Acknowledging the level of support accorded the state government by the Immigration Service, Governor Obaseki said his administration is determined to put an end to the menace of human trafficking in the state. We told the visitors that a bill that will act as a buffer for the task force on anti-human trafficking is almost ready.
Working with you under this law, we believe that if we apprehend traffickers, we can prosecute them locally here and get jail terms from them.
Mr. Eniolorunda is the 22nd Comptroller of Immigration in Edo State. In Benin, I am Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
Delta State government is to donate land to the Federal Medical Center Asaba for its upgrade to a teaching hospital. Helen Dunku reports that Governor Ifeanyi Okowa made a pledge when the board of directors of the hospital visited him.
As said, despite the dwindling economic fortune of the state, he is determined to assist the hospital to provide optimum service delivery.
If you're able to get 5 hectares of land, I think the most appropriate ways now will actually be putting this as a matter of it. It's not too far. Yeah.
Chairman of the governing board, Senator Alkali Abdulkadir Jajere, described the governor as an architect of a modern Delta who is passionate about the health of his people.
We discovered the power of actuation, essentially affecting some of the critical machines that is in the house.
He used the occasion to solicit more support. The board of directors took a tour of the hospital and also visited the palace of the ESO of Asaba, Chief Patrick Onyobi. In Asaba, Helen Dunku, NTA News.
And now, Edo State government has expressed its readiness to explore common grounds to ensure that boundary disputes between the state and Delta are resolved amicably. The Deputy Governor, Philip Shaibu, said this to elders of Uronigbe community who visited him on a fact-finding mission.
Meeting between the Deputy Governor and elders of Uronigbe community sought to take a critical look into the lingering boundary disputes between Uronigbe and Umutu and other communities in Delta State, with the recent development being a court injunction on a rubber estate in Uronigbe. The head of the delegation, Peter Enogiru, noted that the rubber estate, which was established in 1953, had been moribund some years ago until the present administration in the state intervened and leased it to Rubber Estates Nigeria Limited for 45 years. He said the effort of government, which has provided employment for many, ensure replanting of rubber trees, and restore dilapidated facilities is under threat with the court injunction.
People are threatening to shut down activities there and drive away the economy, thus thwarting the efforts of the Edo State government. This petition to Your Excellency is therefore a save our soul message.
The Deputy Governor said the determination of government to expand the economic base of the state also includes partnering with the private sector to create jobs for the people, adding that hindrances to government's policies in any form will be nipped in the bud.
I will reach out to my counterpart in Delta to see how we can maintain peace.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Governor, Philip Shaibu, has visited the Stella Obasanjo Hospital on an inspection tour of the ongoing extension project of Lassa Fever and Disease Control Center in the hospital. In Benin, Udwakobong Achibong, NTA News.
Laure is back to you for the rest of the news. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Ogochukuka. You're still watching Nationwide on the NTA. Time now to take another break. The news continues in just a moment. Don't go away.
Don't we just love our jolly, easygoing keke riders? But alas, many of them are also worse than a bone in the throat.
I go beat you, give you a gogoro drink.
Troublesome and completely disobedient of traffic laws and other road users. What is responsible for this?
Did you drink this morning before coming out?
6 small shots.
Yes.
The rib-cracking comedy takes a look at a day in a typical keke rider's life. In this episode, titled Anthony Keke.
Keke riders, for crying out loud, always check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Keep a date with us as this episode premieres season 6 and laugh like never before.
Hey, dear, you want fight for woman? Woman will not even like you. It remains I wish I give her 500 naira now. The woman will just agree me.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
At the end of 2017, the Buhari administration delivered a number of unprecedented achievements. Generated power has gone up to 7,000 megawatts in 2017 from 3,000 megawatts in May 2015. More than 1.6 trillion naira has been spent on infrastructure for roads, bridges, housing, dams and railways. Nigeria moved up 24 places on the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business rankings and earned a place on the list of top 10 reformers in the world. Today, 5.2 million primary school children in 28,249 schools in 19 states are receiving a free meal daily. Our customs service recorded its highest ever revenue collection of 1 trillion naira in a single year. Our foreign exchange reserves grew by $12 billion, reaching the highest level since 2014. We added $250 million to the Sovereign Wealth Fund and officially moved out of recession.
Registration is now open for state and sports clubs to participate with free accommodation and feeding for athletes and officials on the basis of first come, first serve at the first National Grassroots Sports Festival, Sports for All, to discover sport talent, develop future world champions, and rejuvenate sports in Nigeria. Date 19 to 29th of April 2018. Venue, National Stadium, Abuja. Packages
categories A and B. This is an opportunity for state governors to mobilize supporters and fans for their state through broadcast sponsorship and for companies to promote their brand. For broadcast sponsorship, contact Angelo Peter I. Elosia, Chairman and Chief Coordinator, or Nick Onyisi. Organizers, Grassroots International Sports Academy and LOP Worldwide Television. Endorsed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Broadcast partner, NTA, the largest television network in Africa.
Thanks for staying with the NTA. Ruth is in Jos to tell us about women's role in nation building. Hello, Ruth. It's over to you.
Hello, Laurie. Good evening, and thanks for coming to Jos. Hello, Laurie. Good evening. Representatives Gimbia Dogara has described Christian women as pillars of the church, homemakers, and a force to be reckoned with in nation building. Mrs. Dogara gave this indication at a gathering of Kokin Women Fellowship in Gindri, Plateau State. Caleb Gochin witnessed the occasion.
For the peace and development of the nation. Relying on the theme of the fellowship, which is renewal of minds and attitude, speakers encouraged all Nigerians to have an attitude of gratitude to God. Mrs. Dogara, represented by member representing Pangshin, Kanke and Kanam in the House of Representatives, Timothy Golu, underscored the importance of godly conduct in all endeavors of the women.
She said I should tell the women not to relent, that God is their strength. God will continue to help them. They should not give up. God is their source.
Wife of the Plateau State Governor, Mrs. Regina Lalong, represented by wife of the Deputy, Mrs. Abigail Chioden, challenged the women to pray continually for their families and the society. Kokin President Dr. Dacholam Datri and the Kokin women leader, Gode Nuhu, pressed the commitment of women in taking care of the home front and ensuring that the gospel is sustained.
I want to thank God because the Women Fellowship of Kokin is taking the lead in evangelism and missions.
My message is that we should allow God to transform our hearts.
The women not only savored the messages delivered, but rendered heartwarming songs to God. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
To give learners with special needs hope and sense of belonging, the Badge A Youth Corps members of the Editorial Community Development Service Group has renovated a block of classrooms at the Special Education Model Teaching Center, Abattoir. Ashazi Gopep reports that the project is part of the group's community development service in adding value to humanity.
The center was established to cater for persons with special needs and has over the years trained persons with various forms of disabilities. However, the center has been grappling with lack of standard infrastructure that will enhance teaching and learning due to its deplorable condition. This necessitated the intervention by the corps members.
We got toilets for them, we fixed the burglaries, the windows, we bought new roofs for them, writing materials and other teaching aids.
Dean, Faculty of Education, University of Jos, Professor Mary Hagai, and head teacher of the school, Nerot Gomwok, appreciated the corps members' gesture that has helped create conducive atmosphere for learning.
We will join hands with them and continue and make this place a real model center for learning for persons with disability.
It will greatly enhance learning because the environment has been one of the reasons where we don't have patronage.
Though the learners are on break, it is expected that the facelift will create the needed environment for learning. In Jos, Ashezi Gopep, NTA News.
Traders of Bukuru Market who lost their goods worth millions of naira in a recent fire outbreak have appealed to government for assistance. Victims of the incident who are still counting their losses gave divergent reasons for the cause of the fire outbreak. Kim Gotts reports.
The fire razed a number of shops at the central part of the market. After the incident, the shop owners were seen making efforts towards rebuilding their shops. Speaking to some of them who are still shocked by the fire, appeal to the government for assistance.
If they can help us, if government can help us.
Oh, when fire no burn, they go break them. Pack all the kaya.
I'm handling a restaurant here. Even all these big pot that I used to cook for occasions, I cannot even find one pot. Talk more of carrying the pieces. As you see me, I can't, even up till now, it seems as if I'm dreaming. I can't exactly say what is happening.
Director of Fire Service, Plateau State, Michael Dung, said investigations are ongoing to ascertain the cause of the fire outbreak. He appealed to shop owners to avoid storing combustible substance and always ensure electrical equipment are switched off to avoid future occurrence. In Jos, Kim Goetz, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Jos. Laurie, it's back to you.
Thank you, Ruth. Nigerians are advised to rise above their differences and vigorously pursue peace for the common good of all. Talatu Ezerike reports that this is coming on the heels of certain statements that could threaten national harmony.
Nigeria is reputed for harmonious and peaceful spiritual coexistence amongst her diverse citizens. The country's two major religions, Christianity and Islam, coexist peacefully and share in celebrations. On the 1st of April, Christians celebrated Easter to commemorate the risen Christ, with lessons that centered on peace, sacrifice, forgiveness, reconciliation, tolerance, and placing worries or difficulties in prayers. While Christians were basking in the euphoria of Easter, certain statement was attributed to the National Christian Elders Forum, expressing grievances it once corrected or embarked on civil disobedience.
No individual owns this nation. Nigeria is owned by God, and nobody can fight for God. Let your grievances be made known amicably, not fighting. This period is reminding us that we should live in peace and harmony among ourselves and foster good neighborliness.
For some others, there is a need for Nigerians, especially the clergy, to understand that no nation develops in a state of anarchy.
Sometimes what we hear also following religion is what worries us. Sometimes, like me, I'm a Christian, and what I hear in church sometimes boils me. I wonder if it's the same thing from the same scriptural books, the kind of incitement to violence that people who are supposed to lead us preach, the kind of incitements and differences.
Nigerians are therefore advised to guide jealously the nation and uphold her glory by doing what is right. Talatu Ezerike, NTA News.
Responding to the need to get the basic education system right, given its position as gateway to the nation's education system, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has organized a workshop on transparency and accountability for state universal basic education boards on management of internal process. Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju reports.
The program is continuation of ICPC's engagement with Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, and the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, on efforts to entrench integrity in the delivery of basic education, with emphasis on how to address the ugly effects of corruption on the nation's education system.
The need to get the system right with regard to the management of internal processes has made this workshop necessary.
It is therefore important for us all to sit up, tighten our belts, and discharge the trust that had been bequeathed us. The nation relies on us to provide the human capital base that it requires to thrive. We cannot afford to fail in this assignment.
ICPC will continue to work with UBEC and similar bodies in the country through its research and training arm, that is the Anti-Corruption Academy, ACAN, to sensitize and build the capacity of stakeholders to entrench integrity in their respective domains and workplaces.
Participants were urged to bear special responsibility of instilling requisite values on younger generation so as to build a strong and virile nation which values selflessness. Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju, NTA News.
The federal government is channeling funds generated from lottery into strategic national planning to improve the well-being of citizens. Already, public secondary schools in the FCT have started reaping from the new initiative. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed reports.
I want to say a very big thank you for this initiative they have brought to our schools and all schools around and in the 36 states of the Federation.
Uncle Umogu appreciating the donation of first aid kits to facilitate the handling of emergency cases in public secondary schools. His school is one of the 9 selected public secondary schools in the FCT to benefit from the National Lottery Trust Fund customized first aid kits.
Most of these facilities are now lacking in our schools. So we are now providing the first intervention to the schools so that once they have it, they'll be able to now keep replenishing as they make progress. This is
giving us first aid kits, which are very important in our schools. Of course, they have been existing before, but this one has come as a booster. And of course, I want to assure them and the general public that these boxes and this aid will be put to judicious use.
The donation, which is part of the Lottery Trust Fund corporate social responsibility, is to be extended to hundreds of other public secondary schools across the 36 states of the Federation. In Abuja, Ahmed Ondas Ahmed, NTA News.
Young people aspiring to have a career in diplomacy and international affairs will soon have a documented guide on how to go about it. A book, Dignity in Service, highlights the conduct, training and services in late renowned Nigerian diplomat Matthew Mbu. Chief Mbu, who served the nation in different capacities, which made him a celebrated patriot that contributed to the development and unity of the country, is one of the greatest envoys Nigeria has had. Son of the late lawyer and diplomat Matthew Mbu Jr., says documenting late Mbu's legacies is to serve as inspiration, guidance and learning tool for Nigerians, informed the decision to chronicle them in a book.
His service to the nation and the caliber of people they had in those days, which is missing in today Nigeria. And we hope and pray that all of us who are still vying to serve will learn something from this book.
And now sports. Nigerian football referees begin fitness test in Abuja as action continues at the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. Details with Tamara Ebiwe on Sports Updates.
Nigerian football referees began a 2-day fitness test in Abuja Thursday as part of the requirements stipulated by FIFA to regulate performances. The quarterly exercise kick-started with those based in the northern part of the country, while those from the south will have their turn Friday.
Most of them, they have been practicing this physical fitness test. Honestly, more than for the one we have done in the morning, at least almost about 80% pass.
South Africa's Henry Showman won the continent's first gold medal at the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast, Australia, on day 1 in the men's triathlon with a time of 52.31 seconds, with Australia's Jake Betwhistle finishing second behind Mike Austin of Scotland. Meanwhile, Australia's women's 4x100 freestyle relay team broke their own world record when they clinched the gold medal at the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games Thursday. The Australian quartet clocked 3.30.05 seconds to beat their previous record of 3.30.65 seconds from the Rio Olympics to win gold ahead of Canada and England.
Few strokes away from a gold medal and the record, a world record falls.
Broadcast of events at the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games shall be live on the NTA Network Service and NTA Sports Channel. With sports updates, Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
Let's now run a quick check on the weather. And that wraps up Nationwide on the NTA. I am Laure Bala Hassan. Thanks for watching.
For 25 years, I have been privileged to anchor various programs on television. But the news program that I find most exciting and challenging is The Weekend File. This is largely because of its philosophy of engaging all classes of people, the artisans, politicians, technocrats, captains of industry, and professional analysts on issues that touch all aspects of life and living. In the conversations that follow, you find complexities, different views, ideologies, thought patterns, and individual beliefs. It's quite engaging. We do this Saturdays on NTA network service at 9 p.m. It's Weekend File, but you call it Weekend Companion, and it's all about nation building. Join me, Kirian Umayo, and production crew every Saturday for this weekend treat, and I can tell you that it is unmissable. Make it a day.
This is the network service of the NTA.